Hello, my lovely audience, my dear friends. Welcome to the show. It's the West Show with Jack Chow with the G&E TV. Last time when we sat here, we talked about the Belt and Road. We were not done. And today we want to continue with where we left. Talking about the Belt and Road initiative launched by China. And the summit was even called May the 14th to 15th for 2 days in a row. My friend Chris Nibby was exactly in Beijing, was exactly in 钓鱼台国宾馆, right? Mm-hmm. And you saw it with your eyes. What did you see?
I saw a very impressive show of 29 heads of state having attended that event. Mm-hmm. Because you see, in the last 40 years, China has gained a tremendous knowledge of infrastructure development, and now is eager to export that knowledge.
All right.
And therefore, the Belt and Road Initiative puts that knowledge to good use.
Before we go any further, there's one thing I forgot to mention to you, forgot to ask last time you were here talking about it, the last session. I mean, right? Do you recall the fact that United States made the decision to join the party only leaving a few hours of flight time to Beijing?
Yes.
You realize that, right?
Yeah, but neither Japan nor America is part of the initiative.
No. Talking about the bystanders. They came to watch.
They came to watch.
Yes, good.
Yes.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Yes.
I don't care about Japan, all right? I have no problem. I have nothing to do with them, okay? I'm talking about United States. They came all the way to watch. Okay. That's a good sign.
It's a good sign, but they basically missed the boat because they should have been together with China signing up like all the other countries did, which I think is...
you mean AIB?
The AIB Bank, where all the shareholders of the bank, which was initiated by China and is administered by China, but the shareholders are all the various nations which are part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Now,
all right. Well, I see. It's a win-win-win, everybody wins situation.
Everybody, you see.
But we missed the party.
I like to go back a little bit about to talk about the Silk Road. Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan's Mongol warriors, Marco Polo, mullahs, monks, and merchants all traveled the legendary Silk Road in search of fame and fortune. With a documented history of well over 2,500 years, the Silk Road connected China with Central Asia, India, the Middle East, and Europe. It was history's most famous and fabulous trade route. Spanning the endless distance, the ancient Silk Road embodies the spirit of peace, cooperation, openness, and inclusiveness, mutual learning and benefit.
Those are the triple focuses, right? What they call the triple focuses.
The Silk Road spirit became a great heritage of human civilization because China at that time was far advanced in many ways than Europe. It was not only porcelain, it was silk, that's what gave it the name. It was gunpowder, it was printing, paper making, and the compass.
That was Song Dynasty. Those were in Song Dynasty.
Yeah, they were all exported to Europe, plus also the wisdom of Confucius and Lao Tzu, which I personally believe influenced Christianity, because in Jerusalem at that time there was a smart young Jewish man called Jesus who adopted these ideas and created his own
First time
message.
I heard that.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure
the first time
about
I heard that.
Because you see, the basis of Christianity is the basis of the golden rule of Confucius. Don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you.
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
And the yin and yang is two fish actually. And in the catacombs of Rome, you can see the fish, which is a symbol, a holy symbol of Christianity. You can see the drawings of the fish in the catacombs of Rome. That is the underneath of Rome, where the Christians were hiding because they were being persecuted. So there is a, you see, the thing is, what we all forget to acknowledge is that China, over almost 5,000 years, has been in existence. Empires have come and gone. Just think about Britain. 100 years ago, Britain was omni-important. Now, it's now it's a nation of.
They're only a big follower in bombing.
Right. They are now. They haven't got. They are,
okay.
You know, they were very, very important, and now they're reduced to very unimportant.
Okay. Back up a little bit to the Silk Road in the ancient time, right? The way I read about it, about Silk Road, was such that during Han Dynasty, they first initiated the Silk Road, set foot by Jiang Qian, a guy named Jiang Qian. He went all the way from Xi'an, which is Xi'an, those days in Chang'an, named Chang'an, all the way up north, Turkey going up, all the way across Red Sea, Mediterranean, going up to Europe, and all over Europe to the west point of Hamburger in Germany, right? That's the first Silk Road. And then that was 2,000 something years ago, Han Dynasty, right? Now, and the second was the water route by Zheng He. You wrote Zheng He?
Yeah.
You remember that? You wrote that, right?
Yes.
He made 7 voyages all the way to the end. There is one time reaching to the east end of the South Asia Sea, and there's another time all the way to the west end of Indian Sea, right? So that's the water route. And in between, you're talking about the T route. Remember the T route? The T and the horses.
Right.
That route. Yeah. Chama, right? The T and the horses. Okay. With all the three together, how do you see the common ground of today's and the yesterdays, and the differences of today's and the yesterdays? You see what I mean?
Yeah. It's
structurized.
Not only structuralized, but by logistics or by way of traveling. That was on foot, by horse, by camel, and by boats, by sailing boats. Now everything is motorized. There are freight trains going already. There's one problem that in Russia they have a smaller railway.
Yeah, railroads. That's
so they're loading. They're loading the whole. It's very interesting. They're putting the whole train on an undercarriage with a smaller rail. But sooner or later, you see, there will be from between. Sooner or later, you can go from Beijing to Europe by a high-speed train on rails.
Then you have to rebuild the Siberian roads.
Of course. You will have.
That was, do you remember do you know, or are you aware of the fact that was the one of the conspiracy of Zhang Zuolin? You know Zhang Zuolin. You don't know that much about Chinese history, right?
I do.
The northeast of China, the general who was blown up.
Yes.
Right? By a bomb.
Zhang Zuolin, yes.
Yeah, and they first claim that Japan did it. As a matter of fact, Russians did it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Russians did it.
Oh.
Russians did it. And that was time when, in order to prevent the Northeast China train going into Russia, they built it there narrower, about 1 inch or 2 inches narrower than the rest of the world, the railroad.
Right.
So that has to be rebuilt with Russian money or Chinese money anyway, for our train, for Chinese train to go all the way to Europe.
So,
but
you know, you can go, I'm sure in 10 years you can go by high-speed train from Beijing to Europe. And now it's cargo, and it takes about 13 days, and there have been 3,500 trains going back and forth, and they're basically reaching all over Europe.
They do loading and unloadings at the chain, at the Russian border.
No, they don't unload. They take the whole train and put it on a smaller frame, like an undercarriage, and continue.
Oh,
Very
I see.
smart.
Like a ferry boat. Like a ferry boat.
Yeah.
You bring the train boxes onto a boat.
Right.
The boat goes across water, right? Now you lift the whole train, the train boxes, on another set.
Right.
I see. All right. Okay. That's good.
And you know, it's cheaper. It's faster than the sea and cheaper than air. And the trains are going now to 28 European cities. And
that's included in the Belt and Road?
Yes.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah, that's already a fact.
That's something very new.
That is already a fact.
I've never known that.
And near Xi'an, there is a city called Lintong.
Lintong, I know that.
Lintong is the center hub for the trains going to...
I see. All right, let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, we're still talking about the railroad. Sounds very amazing, very interesting. Stay with us. With me today is my good friend, Chris Neby, a Hollywood filmmaker, director, screenwriter, and producer and everything. We share his knowledge accumulated for the past 20 years on studying China. Now he falls in love with the Belt and Road Initiative. So do I. So stay with us, please. We'll be right back, please. Hello, my dear audience, my lovely friends, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the discussion about the Belt and Road. As one of the series, I would say this is the biggest time talking about the Belt Road because we decided we want to go in depth. We want to do it in a more profound way. With me, my friend Chris Neby, and he's sharing his thoughts on this issue, whole issue. Belt and Road, the initiative, is the initiative, according to him, of the 21st century, a big one, a great one, right? Talking about the approach to Europe first. Now we're at that point. So talking about the rail, putting on a smaller setting, so they realize the whole thing. You mentioned about it being going on for some time, so I've never known that.
Yes, there have been so far over the last years 3,500 trips. And they are going to be extended to about 5,000 by 2020.
When you say trips, you're saying
Trains
trips to where?
Going to Europe with goods from China and returning to China with goods from Europe. Now this is the land system, which also goes to Iran and Turkey.
No, when you say land, you say railroad or road?
No. Railroad.
Railroad, okay, railroad.
Also, it splits off. It all goes through Urumqi to the
Turkey this way, and Europe this way.
The other way around. Europe north and Turkey south.
Yeah, I'm talking about this. There are two ways, like a Y.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Right.
Okay.
And you see, this is the land Silk Road. Then there is the Maritime Silk Road, which, as you mentioned before, was started with Admiral Cheng He, the Chinese navigator.
That's Ming Dynasty.
In the Ming Dynasty, where China had the biggest fleet on Earth, and it is said that they also discovered South America. But they did go to East Africa and to the Arabian Peninsula. So, China did something very smart. In Pakistan, there was a dilapidated, totally broken down port called Gwadar. China rejuvenated that port, rebuilt it, and made created a perfect infrastructure for a container port. They rejuvenated and created a perfect port. Now this is very smart, because now from Urumqi, not from Urumqi but from Xinjiang, they have a perfect highway into Pakistan, and trucking down goods from there to this port. Now they are planning a railway. The connection and the relationships between Pakistan, which is poor and underdeveloped, and China are very close, much to the dismay of India.
Oh, those two countries are very close too.
Yeah, they're very close, much to the dismay of India. Because what China did is, you see, from the port of Shanghai, you have to go through the South China Sea, then you have to go to the Singapore, Malaysia, you have to go to the Sea of Bengal, you have to go to Sri Lanka, where China also has a foothold in the port of Colombo, and then you come to the Arabian Sea, and there is Gwadar. So you're cutting out a long piece of sea road by trucking stuff to Gwadar, loading it on ships there, and then the ships go to the Arabian Sea, Red Sea, and to Piraeus.
Using that port as the distribution center.
Yeah, but you see now China has established a foothold in Djibouti, which is basically Djibouti controls the Red Sea, it's at the mouth of the Red Sea, and subsequently the Suez Canal. And Piraeus, China has bought the Greek port of Piraeus and controls it. So now China has a perfect logistic maritime connection from, and very short also, shorter than going from Shanghai, which they also go, but that Gwadar is a new shortcut to Piraeus, and from Piraeus the goods are all distributed all Europe.
Yeah.
Very smart, very clever, and logistically a very good concept. So the ambitions are endless, because also they're going to, in Djibouti, China has built a railroad which connects to Ethiopia, to Addis Ababa, and to oil-rich Sudan. Both countries China is heavily involved with. And also from Gwadar port, they now can service the port of Mombasa in Kenya, and from Kenya, where China also has a very good foothold with and agreements with the nation of Kenya.
China has been engaged in Kenya construction for as much as I know for more than 20 years.
Right.
I've got friends who got relatives that joined the party, the railroad building party, and they came back with lots of good money.
Yeah,
I would say, investors' good money. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a very good general plan, and you know, this is just the beginning of like a net of connections, and not only rail and sea connections,
truck road, sea connections.
And you see the whole connectivity is sort of supervised by the internet, which makes everything so easy to control and and direct and be able to change directions instantly if there need be to go and have another.
Yeah, of course.
It's very smart. And as I said, it is covering about 60% of the world population.
And also strategically or even militarily.
Yes.
If anything goes wrong anywhere, you send one to the center, and then that whole region is taken care
and
of.
this covers 60% of the world population and about 1/3 of world economy. Now.
And by territory, by continental territory, though, it covers a majority too.
Right. So the interesting thing is that America chose not to be part of this, and now is observing, and because of whatever you may call it, of the attitude of America, they will be left out. They're already left out.
No, I don't think so. If the United States, if Donald Trump and his administration do have the kind of brain, though, they will not decide to stay on the side. They want to get involved.
But so far, they have stayed out, and I think it's a little late because, Johnny come lately is not a very good way. It's better than nothing, but it's a little late. And you see, it was interesting that at that Belt and Road Initiative, Vladimir Putin was there. Interesting enough, also Erdogan, the controversial president of Turkey. But Turkey is a very interesting country in that whole Middle Eastern puzzle, including Iran. So whatever it is, America today is not part of that, and neither is Japan. And I think.
Do you think sooner or later America would get involved? Would have to get involved?
I think America's exceptionalism will not allow this.
No, here's the logic.
That.
Here's the logic, right? You guys get busy with the constructions, right? And China has the equipment, right? And now, and the AIB has the money.
Yeah.
Right. How about America would walk in and say, "You guys need any technology? I have it." Could be.
Yes, but you see, the technology is also available in Europe.
No. To certain technologies, United States is the only owner.
Yeah, but I don't know if you realize that just now, recently, China has tested its first commercial airplane.
Yeah, 319.
In far as rail construction and high-speed rail, China is the leader, and road construction also. I really, frankly speaking, do not see where America could come in. And,
I think technology would, from a technological point of view, they would. For example, with such a network, you need a satellite, right?
Yes.
And by satellite, United States has the strongest system.
Okay, but whatever it is, it's never good to be Johnny come lately.
Okay, all right.
And
okay, the whole world, once started spinning, it's a merry-go-round situation.
That's true.
Right? Nobody falls behind, nobody goes ahead. Okay, it's a merry-go-round situation because you guys are on the global earth, that's it.
Fine, but right now, China is ahead of the game. Make no mistake of it. China is ahead of the game with the Belt and Road Initiative. And as I said, it was not only Vladimir Putin was there, Turkey's Erdogan was there, as well as the newly elected United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. And they were stressing the infrastructure, connectivity, promoting land, maritime, air, and cyberspace connectivity, focusing on key passageways and connecting networks of highway, railway, and seaports. The forum was a great success. And America and Japan, as I said before, have not joined.
Okay.
They are observing, but you know, observing is one
Well,
thing.
they decide, especially Japan, I want them to be out. Oh, anyway, whatever I say represent only myself. Okay, anyway. And this, with the significant, if you look at the picture of globally, you will find it is even more. We'll take a short moment out. When we come back, we will continue. How about when we come back, we talk about AIB?
Yes,
Sounds,
we will.
sounds a big move.
Yes.
Right? Good. All right. We'll be right back. Hello, my lovely audiences, my dear folks, my lovely fellow Americans. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on the East West with G&E TV. With me today, my good friend Chris Nimi of Hollywood, Monorax Hollywood Corporation, director, producer, screenwriter, and whatever, right? So, and he is a philosopher. He has the set of mind that I admire so much, not only as a friend, but as a philosopher. I love him too, so God bless him. Talking about the Belt and Road, he and I seem to have a very good time, especially me. I started to see something in depth. And with everything discussed, we set forth from page one, block by block, and now we're at the we're at AIB, Asian Investment Bank, right? Asian Pacific, APIB, or AIB.
But before we go there, I would like to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
You see, in that spirit, which I must say the West has not yet acknowledged, the Chinese philosophy is a philosophy of peace and harmony, creating win-win situations. Contrary to Western attitudes who have more or less solving a problem, we do it this way and that's it. In China, Chinese people don't think that way. They say, okay,
I agree.
if it doesn't work this way, maybe it works this way, maybe it works this way, maybe it works this way. This is, in the Western mind, suspect. That makes the Chinese suspect because...
I give you an example, all right? Okay, now, say there's a basketball match, a game, right? Game A, I mean Team A, 100 scores 100, Team B scores 99, right? By one score, Team B lost. Does that mean Team B has nothing at all? Team B is so bad, Team B is a loser?
No.
Right? But the American way, my way, is to see the scores.
Right.
I see 100, I don't see you as a 100, so you're a loser.
Right.
So in between winner and loser, you're talking about one score.
Right.
So that's the American way.
No,
The Chinese way, maybe not. So as much as you know about Chinese way, how do we judge winner and losers?
As I said, China is more flexible, and it judges by other ways, and also, which makes it suspicious to Western people, because they don't have that flexibility. For example, Chinese people have a big problem to say no. In the West, no in negotiations is part of negotiation. We say, no, I don't do it.
And
then
no
you come
means
back
no.
and you do it. Chinese don't do that.
We have a law saying no means no.
If Chinese say no, it's a real no. If a Chinese says no, it's no.
All right.
If Western people say no, it's not no. No is a negotiating table.
The other way around.
You know, yeah. So So China has managed or is managing, which is of course not easy, but at least they're making a great effort to create a harmonious 21st century Silk Road family of nations, where again win-win situations are being created. And there are a lot of landlocked countries there which will be benefiting from more open borders, more open trade, more this, more that. It's also the culture. You see, what we always forget is China is now exporting its culture, but also importing other cultures. So it becomes a real multicultural, functioning, harmonious Silk Road family who does have already a basic relationships dating back almost 2,500 years with the spirit of the original Silk Road. America never had anything to do with the Silk Road. It's now coming and sees something which is reborn and is trying to understand it. Neither did actually Japan have anything to do with the Silk Road. So it's understandable that these two nations did not flock to the opportunity to join this. And then, of course, everything needs a financial basis.
So there comes AIB.
So the Chinese created the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and the Silk Road Fund, which are administered and funded partially by China, but also all members of the Silk Road family are members of that bank.
Oh, AIB.
Shareholders.
AIB.
AIIB.
Oh, AIIB.
Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank.
AIIB.
Yes. And this is created in association with other international funding institutions to create the multi-million-dollar investment necessary to make the Belt and Road Initiative a success.
I heard my friends mention that part, the following part, saying that China has learned to play a little smarter than before. When they say smarter, they mean that instead of buying American debts with their surplus of money, which of course you are not expecting a safe return, I hate to say so as American myself, China decided to play another way around. Let's do another game called the investment, right? And created a bank. Lots of people joining in, throwing their chips in the basket as their shareholders. So they're not only starting with the Belt and Road, the Belt and Road has its own bank.
Yeah.
Right? The BR Bank, the Belt and Road Bank. Am I right?
Yeah, it's called AIIB.
AIIB.
But you're right.
And I'm saying my friends are commenting on Chinese being smarter than in playing with their extra money.
Yeah, this whole thing is a geopolitical masterstroke.
Oh, okay.
It's not only a geopolitical masterstroke, it's also an economic, socio-economic masterstroke. You have to see it in the long run. Just imagine that in 10 years, you are mounting a luxury train, high-speed train, which goes, because now China has developed a high-speed train which goes 400 kilometers per hour, and you're traveling from Beijing to Berlin. First class.
Beijing to Berlin?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Beijing to Berlin.
This is going to happen.
You have to go across Russia.
Yes, so what? And you will have, there will be no visa problems, there will be nothing. It will be all a big, huge marketplace for different people, different societies, different cultures who have realized that fighting is stupid. Join the smart ones and live in peace and develop your economy with what you have in association by benefiting from the outside. So
I see.
it's gonna be very interesting because if you have that, there will be no more wars, because it would be foolish to destroy a functioning socio-economic system which functions.
Which benefits everybody. Why you destroy it, right? Why you destroy it? Okay, now, lots of people taking another perspective, talking about now you are busy in building infrastructures. So there's another perspective looking at it. Now we're talking about, on one hand, you're building infrastructures. On the other, you have this terrorist wars. The terrorists, you have an ISIS, right? How do you think that the Belt and Road can deal with the problems? I heard you mention about Middle East. I heard you mention about Iran. So how does the plan of Belt and Road circumvent Iran?
First of all, the Belt and Road Initiative is moving history forward in order to end this year and creates a better future for everyone. It is the most important global endeavor in the 21st century, and it will go down as such in centuries to follow. Terrorism, as we experience it now, is a creation of the United States of America. If America would not have attacked Iraq, which had a functioning system under
Saddam Hussein,
who was a dictator, but he had this country under control, as Syria was under control, or has been under control.
But we hang him.
Assad. Because for the very simple purpose, in order to sell weapons. Libya was under Muammar Gaddafi, and you know, he warned and said, when I'm dead, you will be suffering the consequences. Libya, which was a functioning country, is now a mess. Courtesy of America. If America would not have done what they did under George Bush, we would not have terrorism. That is something created
that sounds something very serious. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we really want to talk about that. All right? You're saying that regretfully George Bush has done something and that we're not supposed to do. All right? So stay with us, please. Hello, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends. Welcome back to the East-West Show. Jack Chow, your host with G&E TV. Once again, today we're talking about the Belt and Road. It's such a huge initiative, quote unquote, from my friend Chris Nibby, is an initiative of the 21st century. It's unprecedented. It's on and on greatest plan for the whole human race. And by that, he even claimed to say that Mr. Xi Jinping is going to be, the name is going to be as loud as Mr. Deng Xiaoping ever since. Now, anyway, forget those parts. We're talking about one by one, block by block, we move ourselves to a point about how the Belt and the Road Initiative shall go versus the fear, the interference of terrorists, right? So my friend Chris Nibby has his take. He just mentioned one point that alerted me, say, okay, let's cut it off right there. And when we take a break, we come back to pick it up. That is the point, saying that President George Bush, if he had not done something wrong, the world or the order today, the world order today should not even be like this. So shall we continue from that on, please?
Yeah. You see, Libya was a very safe and solid country under Muammar Gaddafi, who was an eccentric, but he knew how to control his people. So was Saddam Hussein. and Iraq was very liberal, very well, had a very high degree of education. Same goes for Syria. They had their people under control. The absurdity started actually, let's not forget that terrorism started with the unfair treatment of the Palestinians by Israel, who is, and it's not me saying that, just look at the United Nations resolutions, which again and again address the injustice done by Israel, which is supported by the United States of America. Let's not forget that. And United States of America always abstains at these United Nations resolutions in favor of
Israel is our closest ally. No problem with that.
That whole situation is a mess. Now, Mr. President kowtowed to the camel-driving king of Saudi Arabia, who is also exporting terrorism because they are representing an extreme form of the Quran. Islam is actually a very peaceful and very wise religion. The Old Testament is the same as our Christian Testament, and this extremism has been created by us, only by us.
When you say George Bush, if he hasn't done what he did,
no, and
what
also
do you mean by
Israel, because the first suicide bombers came from Palestine. Because these people are helpless, they are frustrated, they have nothing. They are being constantly abused in any way. I mean, just think if your family has an olive, a few olive trees and have existed there for generations, and all of a sudden somebody comes and says, go away, this is now mine, I'm making a settlement. How would you feel? And imagine the frustration of these people. And we are all paying only lip service. We are not. The United Nations is condemning it again and again. But America is sitting there and is approving it by supporting Israel. This is unfair and this is not right. And in the end, we have what it is now, terrorism. And there is always, you see, ISIS, there are people who have made this fact of terrorism into a cult, and they're now exporting it, and that will be with us for a long time.
Okay.
This is not going to go away.
What did you mean? I'm really interested in that sentence. What did you mean that George Bush, if he did not do what he had done, things will change, will be different? What do you mean? What do you refer to?
We would have Iraq, there was no terrorists in Iraq. There was no terrorists in Syria, and there was no terrorists in Libya. So we would go on, but it was the desire of the United States and its military-industrial complex to create a war. And the result is that billions of dollars have been spent for nothing, while America is going down. Infrastructure is broken, and frankly speaking, the reputation of America, which once was very good, is no longer good.
Iraq war costs $1.6 trillion, and the clock still ticking.
Right.
By every second, it goes still increasing, right?
So you see, and the terrorists are not going to go away, because this has become a cult. Let's not forget that Al-Qaeda was originally supported by America. The leader, which then was assassinated, what was his name again?
Saddam Hussein?
No. You see how time goes so fast, one forgets the names. The Al-Qaeda leader.
Oh, Bin Laden.
Bin Laden, yeah.
Bin Laden, yeah. Bin Laden,
yeah. It was a creation. He was a creation of America, of the CIA. He was a CIA agent. So the whole, there is something here which is very sad, because at one time America really stood for something.
What's your right that China, with this Belt and the Road, will deal with a terrorist situation like that?
It's going to be very difficult because, I mean, let's face it, you go shopping and someplace and like or in Manchester there is a concert and somebody blows it up. There is no way of controlling it. There is no way of, because you cannot arrest everybody who is suspicious. You cannot watch everybody. This is a threat.
It was a brainstorm when I was doing homework last night for today's show that it came upon me about the logic of terrorism. Okay, now to those people who has born in the wartime till today, every day is a war, every day is a fighting, dying is so normal, blood is so normal. They do not even know what peace looks like. Am I right?
Right.
Okay. For them to love peace is a joke. For example, if I was born blind, I never know what the word sunshine. I never know. Somebody pushes me, say you gotta love sunshine. Okay, I said go get lost. What is sunshine? Am I right? Okay. To those people, you don't want to push them to love peace. You want to regulate the day you play your own playground, do whatever you do to yourself. That's it. Do you think what I'm talking about is a smarter way?
Of course, it's a smarter way, but you see, these are, we were talking about bullies. The guys who manage these suicide bombers and all that, they're the bullies. This is they enjoy this. They're very happy that they succeeded in Manchester. Believe it or not, they proudly say it's our responsibility instead of being ashamed. So this is the other side of the book, and you're not gonna, there's nothing you can do about it. You have opened a can of worms. You cannot arrest everybody, and you cannot supervise everybody, because if you could, in these smaller countries like England or Germany, you would be able to control terrorism. You can't. Now, the United States has an advantage because it's basically between two oceans. But wait, very soon, there is going to be another attack here. And if there would be an attack in the dimension of Manchester, the whole country will go crazy, because they would realize, and it will come, that they're helpless. They were also helpless at 9/11. I mean, you have a country with the biggest army in the world, with every surveillance and everything, yet these terrorists were able to fly 2 planes into the...
And from all the way into the heart of New York, nobody even discover it?
Yes.
Nobody even interferes it?
Yes.
So it's going to be a joke.
This is like a cancer. This is like a terminal cancer, and it will be with us. And yes, okay, if you're able to succeed to pacify the Middle East and to eradicate ISIS, they will come up someplace else, because the spirit.
They believe they will pick you. Their God will pick you, right?
It's like.
All right. Anyway,
it's like
back to the Belt and the Road, though. Do you think the way I suggested sounds a little bit like the way that China is doing? Say, I'm not touching you. You want to go for the party? Okay, you're welcome. If you don't want to, go play yourself. Okay, keep it to yourself, and we.
No, it's not going to happen.
We'll pass by.
No, they don't let.
How about that?
No, they will not allow this, and I think we will have to live in the future. The world will have to live with terrorism, and it has actually very little to do with Islam. It is just Islam is just being used as the moral cover for it by misguided people who exercise their power, because I mean it's a tremendous power. Just imagine, do you think anybody would have gone to that concert in Manchester if they would have known that somebody is going to blow himself up?
Of course not.
So,
of course not.
You see, and basically any kind of public gathering you have nowadays, if you are a realist, you have to expect to be blown up.
Yeah, they changed the terrorists to change our lifestyles, right? Our lifestyles is forced to change. You're saying next time when you go to a concert like that big with 20,000 people, you better not go because that's a good target for a terrorist attack.
Yes.
Right? So in other words, the terrorist has changed so far our lifestyle already.
Yeah. So is any airline filled with Western people. So is any place where you can hit a lot of people and basically do it with impunity. And then you sit back and say, I'm responsible for this. Whoever this guy is, whoever the leaders are, and who initiated
But there's nothing you can do to them.
No.
Because they're not afraid of death.
That's it.
That they can't be deterred.
No, but you can also not do anything to those leaders, because if you eliminate one leader, there's another one coming up, because for them, it's a game. It's that whole thing is a game.
I know, but it is going to be a long, long, long way. How about if we later ask China and the United States, the two of them join hands while building the Belt and Road, which you mentioned that the United States missed the boat, and not missed the part of jointly fight against ISIS, the terrorists. That's going to be a big part for the United States to do, because we have the best intelligence systems.
But my dear friend, it's too late, because the idea yes, eventually ISIS will be defeated in the territory where they are now operating, but then they will go someplace else. And the idea, you see, if you would have said, let's say, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, that at a rock concert, some young guy is going to blow himself up, you would have said, this is science fiction, this is a bad movie. Now it's a reality.
Oh, it is so normal, normal.
And it's actually normal. It's
Every
a new
now
normal.
and then we have a suicide bomber, and we have lots of died. Last time in Manchester there was 8, right? 8 or 6?
No, 80.
Oh, 80. No, 8. 8. And well,
countless
yes.
mutilated people.
I'm so desperate. I'm talking about the fact that they never know what peace is.
No.
So they will not love peace because they've never seen one.
And you see, this is just a primitive form of violence being created by ISIS in the name of Islam. There's another one, cyberspace. And cyberspace, I read a book, I forgot the name of the author, where entire electricity grids can be disconnected, and all of a sudden the lights go out. I mean, there is the insecurity factor has never been as gigantic as it is now.
Okay, very good. With that said, probably give us some hope. I believe someday, somehow, China and the United States will join hands, do something to stop that, because it is too scary.
There's nothing to stop.
Because it's too scary, man. We cannot afford it happen again. You and I are talking on the show, boom, there goes a bomb. That's so terrible.
There's
So
nothing to stop.
unimaginable, incredible.
It has become a new cult. This is a cult of evil, and who operates under the name of Islam. It has nothing to do with Islam. They're just using it because Islam is a very peaceful religion, but they're using it. It's a cult, and you cannot eradicate the cult. How? Because you will not know where they are.
Now that the only solution is to increase our export of culture, I mean not the Chinese culture, not American culture, the positive culture. Let them see how lovely peace is, because they never know.
Yeah, but that's a very large issue. If you think about the Palestinian issue, which hasn't been solved in 60 years and will never be solved, because it will not be solved unless Israel changes its policy of saying that they are a pure Jewish state. So they will always, and no other.
But they will not accept that, them saying so.
No, they will never accept that. Okay. So the Palestinians will be forever in the place they are, and the settlements will grow, the hate will grow, and no.
You know what I'm thinking?
Don't forget, this is the root where it all came from, and then America opened the Pandora box and let the genie out of the bottle
end of the day.
By attacking
That's the end
Iraq.
of the day. End of the rope. End of the rope. Yeah.
See, and that's it. And there is no change to this.
You know, Chris, what I'm talking about is that probably we want to show them or separate them to different groups, smaller groups, to show them what peace looks like.
No.
And stop them thinking about sacrificing themselves.
They're not interested in this.
Okay,
That's
anyway.
the game of the bully.
Oh my God. Okay, anyway. Today we're over time, but we know that it's worth it. With my good friend Chris Levy, I have had some good time and thorough analysis and profound looking into the Belt and Road initiative launched by China. So my dear audiences, thank you very much for watching, and to Chris, thank you very much for sharing.
And thank you very much. I'm sorry to be so negative at the end, but it's a reality.
It is reality. It is reality. We have to face. Anyway.